In one of the most dominant fourth quarter performances that primetime has ever seen, the Dallas Cowboys stomp the Indianapolis Colts 54-19 at AT&T Stadium in Week 13 of the NFL season. And now we look ahead to continue on marching on in a hunt for the NFC East title on Special Edition. Back here with Isaiah Stanback, Perry Church, Nate Newton, I'm Kyle Yeomans. Every week we break down the Dallas Cowboys season, and it's now at a 9-3 mark after the big win over the Indianapolis Colts. 33 points in the fourth quarter alone, the most in fourth quarter in franchise history, second most in NFL history. Isaiah, what did this fourth quarter outburst for the Cowboys teach you about this team?
It taught you that this team has crossed over the boundary line of now becoming a relentless unit. These guys don't care what you decide to do, what you decide not to do. These guys are going to put the hammer down and continue to drive the ball down your throat, take the ball away, make big plays, make sacks, make interceptions, pick it up, take advantage of opportunities. This team now is relentless, and I absolutely love it.
Yeah, I've never seen anything like this before. 33 points in one quarter. I mean, it's unheard of. And it just goes to show you that when this team plays a complete brand of football, offensively, defensively, and special teams, they're going to be extremely hard out once the playoffs come. This NFL, they're in a lot of trouble.
I tell you what, the defense was magnificent. I mean, they held on. It was, 19-20? 21-19, and all of a sudden defense took over with 5 turnovers, young guys playing, old guys playing. This is a dominant team led by a dominant defense.
Let's talk about that defense because, again, they've set the tone. Early in the season, Mike McCarthy called them the thermostat because they set the temperature of how things are going to work. They gave up 19 points in the first 3 quarters, but, Nate, you talked about how they locked it down. It was a cast of characters. Deron Bland with a multi-interception game. You had Malik Hooker with an interception and a fumble recovery for a touchdown. What impressed you the most about what that unit was able to do in the second half of that game?
The secondary. Just like you said, Malik Hooker and young Bland and doing what they had to do. And Sam Williams got in on it. It's just that young secondary was coming together, even with the injury to Brown.
Yeah, this defense is playing at an all-time high right now, led by the mad scientist Dan Quinn. And like always, he's getting the most out of each and every one of his players, and they're playing as a unit. If you look at it, they're number 1 in the league in sacks with 48. They're a top 10 red zone defense when it comes to that. And most importantly, they're a top 5 defense when you talk about third down. So they're getting off the field and getting the ball back to their offense. And to me, that's a formula for success.
You just talked about DQ and his ability to make these guys play well. I think these guys are doing exactly what we always say, Big Nate. DYJ. Do your job. Dan Quinn is putting these guys in position to do their job, and they understand what each one of them, personnel-wise, present to this defense. These guys, if you're a fast guy, be fast. If you're relentless, be relentless. If you're a run stopper, be that. If you're a turnover guy, go out there and take advantage of the balls when they present themselves to you. These guys understand their roles, and they're all making contributions.
You hear about it in a game where there's high-scoring final scores like basketball, where defense can turn into offense. Well, that's starting to happen because the Cowboys score a lot of points, and their defense is what's setting up the offense for success. But it's the third time in the last 2 seasons the Cowboys have hit the 50-point mark. The rest of the NFL combined, 3 50-point games in the last 2 seasons. Ooh. So they've matched the entire league in that category. Isaiah, the offense was able to do so by running the football. That's something you've wanted to see all year long.
I'm so happy for Kellen Moore. I'm so happy. Kellen Moore has graduated himself into a heck of an offensive coordinator. I think he always had the potential, but now because of his commitment to the run, you're starting to see what this offense is capable of.
Yeah, without a doubt. I think this offense can do this each and every week, especially if they're able to run the football like they're doing right now. It keeps defenses off balance, and it let Dak do what he does best, and that's a play-action quarterback. They have a top 10 rushing attack, so if they are able to keep this going, the sky's the limit for this offense.
And it don't matter. It could be CeeDee Lamb on the reverse. It can be a tight end on the reverse. You know Pollard going to do his thing. You know Zeke going to do his thing. Way to go, Kellen. You finally understand.
Just like it's a cast of characters on defense that have been getting the job done, the offense starting to have that same level of success. However, is there a depth chart issue at cornerback now? Anthony Brown now joining Jordan Lewis as starting corners out for the season. What can Dallas do to supplement AB's production when we come back on Special Edition?
Special Edition, presented by AT&T, is brought to you by Ford F-Series, the best-selling truck in Texas. Reliant, an NRG company. Blockchain.com, trusted by millions, trusted by America's team. And by AT&T, official sponsor of the Dallas Cowboys. This segment is brought to you by Salvation Army. Love Beyond.
Welcome back in this special edition from the Star in Frisco. The Cowboys now down a second starting corner. Jordan Lewis earlier in the season out for the year. Now Anthony Brown, a torn Achilles in that Week 13 win against the Indianapolis Colts. And Barry, you're our resident secondary defender on the show, so I'm going to start with you. How much pressure is on Kelvin Joseph, second-year player out of Kentucky? He was a second-round pick in 2021. I don't know if he's ever had a better shot to be a starter and to show what he's got in the NFL than right now. How much is that pressure on him to get the job done?
No, I think there is some pressure on Kelvin Joseph to get the job done, especially playing across from Trayvon Diggs out there. We know opposing quarterbacks are going to look at him as being that guy that they can attack on this defense. And it's up to Kelvin Joseph to prove those opposing teams wrong, because the last thing he wants to be considered as is the weak link to this already dominating defense. So it's his job to go out there this week to prepare to get ready for Sunday. And I'm sure Dan Quinn, Joe Witt Jr., and Al Harris will get him right, and he'll be ready to play come Sunday.
I agree with you, Church. When you say prepare, that means preparation, getting ready, looking at extra film, believing in your technique, believing what Coach Al Harris said when he's trying to put you in position to win. Coach Quinn is going to make it easy for you. All you got to do is go out there and let your talent shine.
Lean on the assets that you have. You've been playing special teams all year long. You've improved your play in that regard. Now bring that same physicality to their cornerback position. Come up there, put your hands on these guys, restrict what they're capable of doing in terms of getting downfield, and let your pass rush help you have some opportunities when the ball presents itself in the air.
And you can also rely on his teammates a little bit. Trayvon Diggs, of course, on the other side of him, has had a phenomenal season as well. But is there a domino effect, Isaiah, with a guy at the top of the depth chart like Anthony Brown out that forces really Trayvon Diggs to maybe go out of his comfort zone and travel to cover the best receiver?
Let TD get TDs. That's all I'm going to say. Keep doing what you're doing on that side of the field. You know, we haven't seen him do too much traveling this year, so I would say continue in that role, and hopefully these younger guys can step up and take care of the other side.
Yeah, I'm with you, Isaiah. I wouldn't travel Diggs just yet. I'm sure the Cowboys want to see what they have in Kelvin Joseph as a cornerback out there in the National Football League, so I wouldn't travel Diggs just yet. Now, if you're talking about, seeing maybe Justin Jefferson later on in the year, or maybe a Deebo Samuel, one of those top-tier offensive weapons out there, then without a doubt, I'm traveling Diggs. But as right now, especially these next 2 weeks with the Texans and the Jaguars, I'm sure they're going to want to see what Kelvin Joseph has out there, so they're going to let him do his thing.
And while Kelvin Joseph has not necessarily had an opportunity, Deron Bland has had a couple chances, and he has taken advantage. 3 interceptions this year. Nate, how has he impressed you as a rookie out of Fresno State, coming in and playing well early?
He impressed me during training camp. I used to brag on the kid. I thought he was going to be our slot receiver, man. Barry, this guy seems like a veteran.
Yeah, this guy is playing top-notch football right now. I mean, and he's playing great football at one of the hardest positions on the defensive side of the ball. And like you said, it's extremely impressive that he's doing this as a rookie. This guy is smart. He seems to have a knack for the football, and he's not afraid to stick his nose in there when you talk about the ground game. So to me, this guy has all the characteristics to be a good nickel corner in the National Football League.
Choices coming up for the coaching staff. There's also some decisions to be made from the Cowboys front office and the domino effect from Anthony Brown and how that could affect the practice squad. When we come back, we go one-on-one with Cowboys COO Stephen Jones to see how those decisions are starting to shape out.
This segment was brought to you by Salvation Army. Love Beyond. This segment is brought to you by Ford F-Series, the best-selling truck in Texas.
Time is running thin to sign up for one-day holiday football and dance academy camps at AT&T Stadium. There are limited spots available, so sign up now at DallasCowboys.com/academy, December 20th and 21st. You can head out to Arlington and get the kiddos involved with a great presentation presented by Invisalign. It is a big week for the Dallas Cowboys front office. Decisions still to be made about a certain wide receiver that's on the open free agent market. Also, a potential couple guys coming in to fill in the spot for Anthony Brown, out for the season with a torn Achilles. Here's our very own Nick Eatman taking some time and sitting down with Cowboys COO Stephen Jones.
Hey everyone, Nick Eatman here along with Stephen Jones, Cowboys Chief Operating Officer. And man, it sure has been a unique week here at the Star. You got 2 home games that they've just played, got a 3rd game coming up here at home. But all the talk has been about visitors and recruiting and all this. So I'll let you kind of catch us up on how things went with Odell Beckham Jr. here in the building and those visits.
Well, first of all, we're always trying to get better as a football team, and certainly when a great player like Odell Beckham, you have an opportunity to take a look and see what you could do to improve your football team. It's in our mind, you have to get in there and look at it. And certainly we had a great visit with him. Outstanding young man, certainly a great competitor. I know he's dying to get back on the field, but we had a great couple days with him, and now the devil's in the detail. I mean, we've got to get in there, and it's not if, but when he gets back, and certainly we've got to figure all that out, and then what the value is for that, and what his goals are in terms of his financial future, and of course we're looking at what he can do for the Dallas Cowboys, first and foremost this year, but certainly don't rule out the future as well.
Flipping to cornerback, your depth is obviously getting tested there with another player out for the season in Anthony Brown. Obviously, you've got some corners that you've drafted there, Kelvin Joseph, Nashawn Wright, Deron Bland. What do you like about that position when you have to replace Brown?
Well, I know when the season started, we couldn't believe we were keeping 7 corners. I mean, you just usually don't do that. But those guys deserve to be on the roster. They earned roster spots. When you throw in CJ, one of the best special teams players in the league. We've got some real resources tied up, and Kelvin and Nashawn, they've really played a big role for us on special teams. They'll continue to do that, but now, those guys are going to have to step up. And then, of course, the one who really stepped up is Bland. I think he had 2 picks, and I know he was in the running for Rookie of the Week on several networks. But, the game's certainly not too big for him. He stepped in for J. Lou and done an outstanding job holding that nickel position down. And I know our coaches have a lot of confidence and are comfortable in what he does. Certainly Joseph is maybe one of the more talented guys, period, in that corner group. And he just needs to be more consistent. He's certainly manned the ship and figured it out on special teams. He just needs to take that same intensity and consistency and do it at the corner position.
You're going up against a Houston team that struggled. They've only won a game. Is this where the coaching staff and the players really have to control themselves and say, all right, we have to focus on this. This is an NFL football team, regardless of what experts say might happen in this game?
Well, obviously the Texans have, they've been through some adversity down there in terms of changing quarterbacks and coaches and those type of things. But you just have to stay focused. They pay their guys. They have some really good football players on that football team. And like you said, if you go to sleep at the wheel in this league, you're going to get your feelings hurt. And I think this team is made up of the right guys, the right leadership to keep the focus in terms of what we need to do to go out and play good football. And if we do that, hopefully we'll come away with a win.
Thank you, Stephen. All right, Kyle, back to you.
Thank you very much, Nick. You heard it there from Stephen Jones. The Cowboys cannot fall asleep at the wheel. You can catch that entire interview on DallasCowboys.com, and it was powered by Reliant. But speaking of keeping their heads straight, going into this matchup, they've got a tough matchup with Dameon Pierce, the rookie running back for the Texans. When we come back, Barry, Nate, Isaiah tell you how he could make the Cowboys pay here in Week 14.
This segment was brought to you by Ford F-Series, the best-selling truck in Texas.
Just understanding, what journey that we're on. We're going to be facing a different team each and every week, and it doesn't matter about their record or, what they went through. It's really about, us honing in on, where we're trying to go and also, our details. So it's really about us.
DeMarcus Lawrence brought to you by Texas Lotto. The goal stays the same for the Dallas Cowboys, so the preparation stays the same. Back here with Isaiah Stanback, Barry Church, Nate Newton, I'm Kyle Yeomans. Houston has a problem. His name is Dameon Pierce, so that Cowboys defense is going to have to stop the run again. And we've also talked about it already. This run defense has been better. Dalvin Cook You had Saquon Barkley. Last week, Jonathan Taylor. Dameon Pierce is a different challenge, though, Isaiah.
He's a different challenge from the standpoint of this dude is the most physical back that the Dallas Cowboys will face to date. Okay, there's a big man coming to town as well. But in terms of right now, this dude does not want to go down. He's relentless. He's violent. He doesn't care what their record is. He wants to completely punish you and make you limp off the field. Okay, they're gonna have to wrangle him up. I know Barry always talks about how these guys are gonna have to get to the ball and swarm him and have a swarm defense. That's exactly what you have to do against this young man because he already has over 800 yards with 5 games left.
Yeah, this guy is a one-cut downhill slashing type runner, and we've seen those type of running backs give this Cowboys defense fits in the past. But if this defense is able to do what it has been able to do these past 3 weeks, which is hold arguably 3 of the top 10 running backs in the National Football League to under 100 yards each, I think they'll be just fine being able to handle Dameon Pierce.
He runs around you, through you, he spins on you. He's like a video game. This guy's awesome, man. And like Barry say, we got to hold him in an umbrella and wrangle him up. But like Isaiah said, wrangle his dude with a rope or whatever you got to do. He's a beast.
And it's been far from a video game at the quarterback position for the Houston Texans. It has not been pretty throughout the year. Davis Mills has battled some injury, and then he lost his starting job to Kyle Allen. Now he is back at the starting quarterback position, says head coach Lovie Smith. Nate, from what you've seen out of this quarterback group, where could Dallas take advantage?
They have no continuity. Their wide receivers, they got a few good wide receivers, but when you don't have any continuity at the quarterback position and you know who's going to be there, that ball comes out spinning different ways. So they have a problem here.
Yeah, you're absolutely correct. They have a problem. If they have to throw the ball in the air at all, Dallas is going to be the benefactor of that, okay? These guys are in a bad way, and that's why they're flipping back and forth between starting quarterbacks. You already mentioned they don't have any continuity. These guys Brandon Cooks is really their only receiver out there. He's up sometimes, he's down sometimes. He has contractual issues. These guys are not good when they're throwing the ball. That's why they want to hand it off to 31.
Now, the Houston defense on the other side, that's a team that is bottom 5 in terms of points per game, but last week they kind of got after the Cleveland Browns, a team that did not have an offensive touchdown in that game. Barry, what do they bring to the table to allow their defense to be successful and continue to grow?
Well, they kind of swarm you. They kind of play as a unit out there. But if I'm being completely honest, I don't think this defense stands a chance. All right, the Cowboys are hitting their stride just at the right moment, and I just don't think this Houston Texans defense has enough up front or enough talent overall to slow down this rushing attack by Zeke and Pollard or slow down Dak Prescott. So I envision another big scoring afternoon for this Dallas Cowboys offense.
I don't disagree with you. And you see Petrie right there on your screen. That's about all he's done all year long. He's not done very well as their big-time draft pick. They try to put everybody around him, all these pieces, but he hasn't been up to part just yet. This defense should get ran through like hot dog water.
Ooh, goodness gracious. That's something, that's a statement for the show to continue on. When we come back, we give keys to the game. It's already over, according to Isaiah over here. We'll tell you how the Cowboys could get to win number 10, and Mike McCarthy can be all smiles when we come back.
Special edition presented by AT&T was brought to you by Ford F-Series, the best-selling truck in Texas. Miller Lite, the only beer of the Dallas Cowboys. And by AT&T, official sponsor of the Dallas Cowboys.
It's been long said in the NFL that 10 wins will get you into the playoffs, that is, and the Cowboys can hit that double-digit mark with a win this week over the Houston Texans. Back here with Isaiah Stanback, Barry Church, Nate Newton, I'm Kyle Yeomans, wrapping up special edition. The Cowboys looking for win number 10. Houston looking for win number 2, but if you are Dallas, you cannot have a letdown. Barry, what's the key to getting that 10th win?
Just be yourself in all 3 phases of the game. Offense, defense, special teams. There's no way this Houston team can hang with you, so don't give them the momentum thinking that they can do so. Get this game done by halftime. Be yourself.
Defense, do what you've been doing over the last 3 games. Go ahead and keep this team to under 90 yards rushing. If you can shut down Dameon Pierce, you shut down the entire Texas region.
I agree with you. Just keep Dameon Pierce up under 100 yards. And you know what? Offense, start a little smart, start a little faster. Please, no turnovers.
And you can't have those self-inflicted wounds. That's been a big problem for the Cowboys at times this year. If you can clean things up, there should be a whole lot of success. Now, Nate, give us your prediction. Cowboys-Texans coming up at noon. Kickoff on Fox. Who you got?
This is not a very good team. We're going to slaughter them at 3 points.
Oh,
Yeah, 3-point victory.
You went back up to a field goal win. How about that, Nate Newton, here on Special Edition, giving that insight that you can't get anywhere else. That's going to do it for us this week, and it should be a fun one. Again, noon Central Time kickoff on Fox. It's an in-state rivalry, a battle for the Governor's Cup, something the Cowboys haven't had since about 8 years ago. For Isaiah Stanback, Barry Church, Nate Newton, I'm Kyle Yeoman saying so long. We'll see you next week.